Welcome to Check It Out with Jessica Lee. I'm here with LaSandra Brill, who is Head of Digital Experience and Activation at NVIDIA. LaSandra, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here because I'm excited to hear more about the social media aspect of marketing and NVIDIA in particular.
Definitely.
So let's hear a little bit about your responsibility and scope of work at NVIDIA.
Sure. So as the title says, in charge of the digital experience and activation in NVIDIA. And what that includes is the customer experience and how we bring customer experiences to life. We do that through a combination of data science, and content and personalization.
Okay. I mean, you have a large group, 60 people.
Yeah,
yes?
It's a pretty big group.
So you own the website and you own what tell us a little bit more about what is it in the marketing aspect that you do.
So managing NVIDIA.com, the consumer email conversations that we send out, our paid media, both on the enterprise and the consumer side, and the analytics around how we bring it all together.
Okay. And I know you're very passionate about AI, and I think the audience would probably find it very interesting to hear about how are you using AI in your own marketing experience, and then how is NVIDIA helping with the GPUs, chips, and the AI work.
So let me tell you a little bit about NVIDIA first. So the company is about 25 years old, and we started through the invention of a GPU to help solve for the high intensive graphics that are required for gaming. And well, it turns out that these GPUs are also really good at something called parallel processing. So being able to process a lot of data, a lot of information at the same time, which happens to be really good for AI. And so these the GPUs, once they started getting into this new world of AI, the opportunities have exploded. And so we are now being used across really every industry. Gaming, obviously, VR, healthcare, automotive. I mean, anything and anywhere where data science and AI is a key component, the use of the GPUs is very powerful. And then we've then turned to that to how do we make that useful in marketing? It's also good in marketing.
That's right.
And so we are using it really across all of the different channels in different ways, whether it be an email, our website, every personalization. I mean, there's a ton of different ways, and we're using it in various applications.
Give us an example, like sentiment or listening and all that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one. So we, our social sentiment is a very important KPI for us. And the way that the sentiment is traditionally been tackled is almost like a one-size-fits-all approach. And the reality is that the conversations are not the same, and every community has its own language, its own lingo. And for us, we have a gamer audience, which takes that to an extreme. And just for an example, the word sick could be used in very different ways. So if they say, oh, that is sick, they can be a positive thing, but a sentiment analysis tool would typically put that as a negative tool, sick being a bad negative word.
Millennials would use the word.
Yes. Right? And that's just one example. There are so many different examples like that, and things are, the memes that are coming up, it's always changing, and how language is being used and whether it's positive or negative. And we were seeing anywhere from like 40 to like mid 30% accuracy on the sentiment. So it just wasn't a really good indicator for us. The tool wasn't working for us. And so fortunately, we were able to tap into our internal talent. We partnered with our research team to figure out how to use some of our AI and our GPUs to tackle this challenge. And we were able to improve the sentiment anywhere from 80 to 85% accuracy. And so that gives us a good indicator of what's happening in the community.
So you have an open source tool, right? You want to share about that?
Yeah. So the sentiment neuron is available on GitHub. So we once we created it and tested it and got it to a good place, it's open source and it's available for download on
Anyone
GitHub.
Can use it.
Anybody can use it, and you train it on your own data, and that's what's powerful about it. So we actually were able to train the sentiment neuron off of Reddit conversations. And that's where we have a really broad, unfiltered, uncensored amount of conversations to be able to show and teach the model what was positive, what was negative, and get us to some of those new levels of accuracy.
Okay. What are some of your challenges then? I mean, there's a lot of tools. There's a lot of new tools that keep on coming on, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many people are now using NVIDIA products. So you're in a lot of different markets too. So what are some of your challenges in doing your marketing?
You know, we tackled the big data approach pretty well. We have a data lake that we created called Voltron, and that pulls in all of the data sources from a number of different tools, include all of the first party data basically. And that's a gold mine, but it's also a curse because there's so many different ways you can cut it, and it's so much data, and it's exciting, and it's exciting for us marketers, and we want to slice it and dice it in so many ways. It can get really complex, and then it makes it harder to get things pushed out and get things done out the door, because we want to do all of these cool, like, oh, we can break it into this audience and that audience,
right?
And
You're
the audiences can be very small, and then it's a big effort. And I think that has been a challenge for us. And what we've learned, and how we're trying to approach it now is, hey, let's get some small wins. Let's figure out some tests to figure out what works, and then we can automate those things, and then we can go back and add to it, and continuing to just tweak and improve on the different levels of personalization that we're enabling through this digital engine.
Okay.
But the big data options they're so broad out there now, which is great. But it's just figuring out how to keep things moving so that we're moving at the speed of light, which is important for our business.
Okay, wonderful. And what is the big initiative this year for you then? What's exciting for you that you're looking forward to achieving?
The goal is to build a customer data model. We want to be able to look at all of that big data, identify what those key audiences are very specifically, and create end-to-end journeys for those key customers.
You've got a new initiative around the subscription model of one of your product line, right? How does that affect marketing then?
Yeah, so we're in beta right now for a product called GeForce Now. And so rather than selling a graphics card to an end user, they're actually able to access the graphic card, power of the graphic card through the cloud.
Oh, okay.
And so this changes things a lot for marketers. It's rather than it being, promoting a particular product, they buy it, and then maybe 1 or 2 years down the road they're looking to upgrade, and we remarket to them. This is really about maintaining an ongoing relationship with them, keeping them engaged, using the product. But also there's like a fine line of, you don't want to overmarket to them and get them to the point where they're like, okay, stop sending me messages. And so it's a different style of marketing, and we are approaching it very, very journey based. So we're approaching it very differently, thinking about what those journeys are, what are the indicators, using some of the data that we have available, and how they're using the product, how engaged they are, or if they're showing message fatigue, and then determining how we engage with them at an individual level.
That's very interesting that you mentioned all of that, but you're in marketing. It's often when I have conversations with people around renew, subscription, renew, and upsell and cross-sell, it's a conversation with the customer success team. So is NVIDIA also now having that customer success team working with marketing to do that kind of ongoing marketing and value touching?
I think we might be organized a little differently. We don't have a team on the consumer side specifically called customer success, but we're working with the product team to help map out, like, what does this journey look like, and how can we encourage customers to utilize different features so that they're getting the full benefit of the product, and being able to analyze how they're using the product today. Being able to market new games that come available, but making sure that it's relevant to that particular person by looking at their history of what types of games they've played in the past. And so they don't necessarily get every game announcement, but the ones that they're most interested in and most relevant to them.
Let's hear a tip that you would like to share with the audience, maybe around the email campaign.
Yeah, so one of the ways that we're using AI is around our email delivery. And we are looking at send time optimization at the individual level. Again, the power of all of this data. Instead of being able to say, marketing 1.0 was send it to everybody at the same time. Marketing 2.0 was, okay, we have some data. We see that 10 o'clock on Tuesdays is the best time to send an email. So everybody started sending their emails at 10 o'clock on Tuesday. Well, now we're at the new wave of information, and we can look and see, okay, Jessica, you may come in to work at 9 a.m., But right away, you're kind of just looking to delete some messages, and you're not really reading and engaging in your emails until closer to 10 a.m. So the best time to send you your message might be 10 a.m.
Wow.
Where Paul over here, he's a early riser. He likes to get his emails at 6 in the morning. And so really looking at the individual level, when to send a message, and dropping it at the individual level. And so that's been really helpful. Not only is it helpful in getting them to engage, but it also looks at fatigue. If you're no longer engaging with the last two emails, if we send you another email, there's a good chance you're going to unsubscribe. You're just you're not in the mode to take in information from NVIDIA for whatever reason. Your mind is somewhere else. And so again, at that individual level, we can determine when a customer is starting to show fatigue and delay a message for them, put them on pause, and then they'll be back on the stream again, looking at all of these different signals.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing that tip.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been fascinating, and I learned so much from having you as a guest. So thank you for being on the show, LaSandra.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks to the audience for watching. LaSandra Brill from NVIDIA. Take it up with Jessica Lee.